friend Jimmy Deal.
All right, welcome to Celebrity Spotlight, everybody. I have DJ Al Rock, DJ Al Gee, and the one and only Strafe is here with us. How you guys doing tonight?
All right.
Good to see you, Jimmy.
Great to have you with us. Of course, the legendary recording artist Strafe, right? Great to have you with us. Of course, you're a songwriter, producer, arranger. Tell us what's going on. Are you excited to come out and hang out with us at the Richmond Republic, the reunion coming up this weekend?
Of course, it's always a family affair. You know, when Set It Off is going to be, part of the mix. It's one of those things. You know, we remember when, and we bring that vibe back again every time we get together. So it's been a pretty exciting year, actually, doing a bunch of things.
Yeah, of course, you're from Brooklyn as well. And of course, you're going to have all your fans there from Canarsie, from Brooklyn, from Staten Island. So we're all excited to see you. And tell us how you first got started in this business.
Well, it started a long time ago as a kid, a teenager, playing in my pop's band, Mr. Steve and the Young Ones, doing community events, Catholic charities events, things for the elderly, things for kids, Christmas parties, Sweet 16s. But I was doing like the standards, back then, Girl from Ipanema and Take the A Train, Satin Doll. But, the dance experience as a musician and a youngster, being able to play multi-generational music and music that was for the family. As a musician, a guitar player in the band. Stanley Banks was another. We were all students, and my pops, Mr. Steve, was an instructor for us. So I was a guitar student. Stanley Banks was the bass player. He ended up playing with George Benson and a bunch of jazz luminaries. So we come out of the Farragut houses, and we would play for the annual cleanup day. So playing in the street is where I got started. And that also I was in a teen band where we did some funk stuff, that we didn't do with Pops, like some Bohannon, some Kool and the Gang and all of that. And then coming out of high school, I was in a dance band with, it was a big band with four horns. I was a rhythm guitar player. There was a lead guitarist as well as bass and keyboard. So it was a pretty big band, and we were a dance band, and we were doing Caribbean funk. So, I was introduced to reggae and but had been playing some calypso in my pop's band earlier. So it was a Caribbean funk band. We did stuff like Mandrill, we did Ohio Players stuff. It was the early 70s, came out in 73. Actually, Love Is the Message came out that year, and that was one of the tunes in our repertoire. So after that, I became a club head, after graduating high school, about then, and then became a mobile DJ in 75 officially, because I was out chasing the grooves, chasing the tracks, being a musician, you got to stay up with what's happening in the street. But being a mobile DJ taught me a lot about being responsible for keeping folks on the dance floor, managing sound systems and the whole business to get in and out of doing a gig and getting the party started and keeping it started, so I can get paid at the end of the night. But mobile DJing during the 70s really set up the foundation for my a creation of Set It Off, because I went back to those instincts, once I had to shift gears. It was actually in 83 or 82. I went back toward a focus more on songwriting again from the mobile DJ thing. Now, I had a whole bunch of experiences during the mobile DJ thing that showed me a lot. I can't even start to talk about it because we get into such an extensive conversation. But I will say that shopping one of my bands to get a record deal in 82, I met with Ray Pinky Velasquez up at Vanguard Records. He was the A&R man at the time. And my time during the mobile DJ experience, I had established relationships with the promo departments and all the labels in the city. And I was a member of the IDRC record pool before, and as it turned to the RPB, I think it was, with Eddie Rivera. It was the BMJs. I was a member of that with Burt Lockett. So I was in deep with the mobile DJ experience. But as I was pitching for a record deal for my band, The Musicians Volume 2, with Pinky Velasquez, he told me, look, man, you got some nice sounding tunes here. I was pitching tunes that I figured would be radio accessible. He told me that independent labels had a hard time getting their artists, especially their new artists, are played on radio. So the only way for me to even consider getting a deal or to have any kind of a success is to focus on the streets. If I can give him something for the streets, if I write something for the streets and the streets play it, then radio will have to play it. So that was the strategy that I used to create Set It Off. I wrote it as a DJ utility piece, and I put all the hooks I can find in it, so that even if the music wasn't happening, maybe they could use the acapellas. I want this party started, right? So yeah, I was thinking about the getting that. Making it happen, but making it happen from the streets first.
Right. So the song was written with the DJ in mind, really, get those
Totally.
people on the dance floor.
But also the dancers. I mean, the lyrics. Knowing that the sound systems are pumping, big bottom, crisp highs. I felt the message had to speak for the dancers, because if the volume's up, they're not necessarily talking to each other, but the bodies and the suggestion and the sounds would help them to connect. So it was intentional, the thought process and the message, in the song, to be able to affect the experience in the moment.
Right. When you first recorded the song, Set It Off, and you heard the playback, were you pleased with the song? Were you happy with the song? Did you know the song was going to do something?
No, I didn't. I know there's controversy out there about the whole Walter Gibbons initial mix. I wasn't. I was very apprehensive. Hey, look, as a DJ, and when you're in a record pool and you're a DJ and you got the weekend thing happening, when you're getting a lot of records, especially promotional copies, you put the needle to the groove, and within the first 30 seconds, whether or not you got something happening, So the design of Set It Off with that 4/4 click, and the pickup was designed to be easily accessible to DJs who are using beat matching and, doing it by ear. But the fidelity in the first pressings and the original arrangement that Walter Gibbons put out, there was some things left to be desired. And mainly for me as a musician, I had the original arrangement was never released, and I arranged it. That was for me as a performer to be able to work. It was a gradual progression into the song, but the way Walter edited it, it made it a little awkward for me, especially as the initial pressing was released. So I was a little uncomfortable at first having to adapt to his arrangement, his edit. Being that my arrangement I felt more comfortable with. And to tell you the truth, I never did perform his arrangement in those original days. It was always my arrangement that I performed, and it was never mastered. I had to remaster it from a cassette recording from a previous mix at Sigma Sound. So it wasn't even the final mix that I was performing back those days. And to tell you the truth, the company was afraid that if I performed anything but the Walter Gibbons version, that it would affect the audiences and that the audience would be confused. And I didn't believe in that. Being a musician, I know that when you go to hear a live band, whether it's Earth, Wind and Fire or whoever you heard rocking on the record, it always sounded different live, even though they worked around the the original arrangements, but the fidelity was always different because it was live. So I had no fear that my original arrangement would work, but the proof that it worked was that all of those years, and back then, those days I was doing clubs, there were actually DJs that were following me to different clubs trying to bootleg that version because it wasn't available. But it was the original 10-minute version, and it was a 10-minute production. It was originally arranged 10 minutes in length. Now I know that Walter Gibbons, his art and his craft is based on taking a short form song and extending it and extending it into a DJ club rendition. So this was a challenge for him, actually, to be able to take a full length 10-minute tune and mix it. So he did what he did in terms of moving things around, changing things up, but that was uncomfortable for me to perform at that time. because I had the original arrangement in my heart and soul. That was and the company didn't allow me to do a mix. I thought that was shortchanging the audience. Usually the audience has access to the original song arrangement, and then they have the DJ remixes to hype it up. So that was the original controversy that led to Just Born putting out an imposter group, and that led to more controversy. And then, in the end, it all added up to curiosity and folks being able to come see the real deal and to feel it. And all of these years later, that Walter Gibbons version is magical, because it's the one that Tony Smith championed at the Funhouse. Yeah. And because of him championing it, it became it had a life. Folks were able to hear it, and I know that as a DJ, there were many great tunes that never saw the light of day because they couldn't get the airplay. So I feel blessed, in the controversy itself, because it got a chance to be heard. And I also had the opportunity to experience performing my original arrangement live, to know whether or not, what I was doing, whether my instincts and whether my performance with those instincts were credible or not.
Right. Well, when it first came out, it was an underground hit, really, was what it was considered, right?
Right. And the way I figured it, DJs always edited it and mixed it in their own way between whatever else they were playing. So the audiences, when they heard the version that I performed, I had other embellishments, live interactions with the audience to make it a full live experience, right. As well as some live instrumentation. I always had my buddy, late buddy, Roger Radar, Facebook Radar Rock, but Roger Washington, he was with me in my earlier bands also. And for me as a musician, I, transitioning to doing track shows was like performance art. I didn't have my guitar. In the early days, I did have my guitar with me, but doing so many dates, I couldn't get sound checks. And it got to the point we was doing like maybe 3 and 4 shows a night. So we're going from one spot to the next. So I had to become a stand-up performer without my guitar around my neck. And, now it's just a matter of being the protagonist of what the song is saying. Let's get this party started,
Yeah, when it first came out, they couldn't keep up with the sales, right? I mean, yeah, there was 1,000 copies came out, and everybody wanted a copy of it.
Well, the truth was, after I had the confrontation with the company, they took it off the market immediately. They pretty much tried to kill the record and release the Harlequin 4's version. Mm-hmm. And it made it an instant collector's item. So it kind of backfired on them, because right. they figured, okay, well, his version will just fade away and the Harlequin 4's will take off. Because, see, they wanted to control me, the artist. Hey, look, they wanted to sign me as an artist, but I know that's a conflict of interest. Right. The record label is one responsibility, but management is separate. And I had knew a few things. I had actually consulted them on signing the record. To tell you the truth, they were interested in another song that I had composed. I was submitting songs to them as a songwriter, and the song I submitted was for a female vocalist, and they loved the song. Since I sang the demo, they didn't like the way their female artist sang it. They considered me as the artist, and I was like, well, I wrote that for a woman. I'll continue. And it was, I wrote it for a woman. It's called Raps and Lines. It was actually written for a female vocalist with a possible rap artist, right. or rap fill, which I could have done the male part if we still prioritized the female as the lead. But now they were interested. They were interested in me as an artist. And here's the funny part. I had been pitching songs to them because one of the main principals of Just Born was Willie Daniels, may he rest in peace. They had previously put out a record with him, Searching. He was the vocalist that they were pushing as DNL Records. And I had, when that record, they couldn't get any airplay on that record, and they had spent some dough on that. They had like the MFSB strings and horns backing them up. But I had put together the rhythm section for that. I played guitar on that. It was Searching, and it was the B-side was a ballad. So I had put together brought in the keyboardist and drummer for them. Forgot the brother that was the producer on it, but it was a nice sounding record. It was just a little too sweet, too late, because now electronics, it was done in 78. I think it released around 80, something like that, whatever. But it was, the sound was changing, hip hop was coming in, and, the disco sound was evolving to another electro thing. So they had no success with that record. So by the time I came back to them, they were looking for songs. I started writing songs for Willie again. And then they said, well, we're going to shift to a younger female artist. Got any songs for us for a young female artist? That's when I pitched Raps and Lines. They fell in love with the song. Since I sang the demo, they considered me as the artist. Right. And the music thing, like I said, was prior to that. I had submitted songs by me and my band, and they weren't hearing it. They couldn't hear it. But in any case, now they were hearing me singing this song for this female artist, and I said, well, you know what? Because I wrote that song and set it off as a response to what Pinky suggested, writing something for the streets. So I went back to the drawing board and came back with 2 songs. So that when they became interested in the other song, I said, look, I wrote this song for me. I think you should consider this song. And that's when I pitched Set It Off to them. And they hated it. They hated it. They did. Because they were so, and you know how it is, and DJs, when somebody gets something else in their head, that's what they want to hear. Nah, man, this don't sound like that song. But I convinced them that, look, I wrote Set It Off for the streets. I wrote Set It Off for the DJs. If the DJs play it, then radio will have to play it. Plus, absolutely, DJs buy 2 copies of a record. I think that's what convinced them, at that time. They were just fledgling, trying to get off the ground. But that sales pitch got them to consider it. So about a week or 2 later, they said, okay, let's go with this song. And that's how it became the opportunity for me to record Set It Off with them.
Wow. What was the first radio station in New York City to play that song?
Well, I think it was the Kiss mix, the BLS
98.7 Kiss. Yeah, okay.
Wow. Yeah, Kiss and BLS on the mix segments. It was, but it went in rotation on BLS in like November.
Right.
It was originally released in May of 1984, but it didn't make it to radio until November. But it was in the mix shows. But the first time I heard it in the street and I knew something was bubbling was my lady Sharon and we were in the Village one night, and it was in the summer, and we heard a kid on a boombox, playing Set It Off, and it was like in the distance. I didn't recognize it, but my wife Sharon did. She was like, yo, they playing Set It Off. I said, nah. So we went and followed this kid. We chased him down, and we heard it. Whoa, where'd you get it? Yo, how'd you get a copy of that? And I'm pretty sure what he said is my man Tony gave it to me, put it on tape for me. He was down at either it was Funhouse, because Funhouse was one of the first places to
Jelly Bean, right?
Yes, Jelly Bean added it to his playlist, but it was definitely Tony Smith, who was a very good friend of Walter Gibbons, that championed the record. Walter Gibbons had retired at that time from the industry. He got burnt out. I mean, doing this club thing, will burn you out. The volume, as well as all of the other party favors that go along with maintaining a set and keeping folks happy throughout those hours, can wear on you as a DJ. And he had retired. And I think that I'm pretty sure, and he became a born again Christian. So I believe that the references to the Lord's Prayer inspired him to come out of retirement. Give us this day, live us this day, to show our gratitude, to change our attitudes. Come on, we're many, with all that we feel. The time is ideal to set it off, I suggest, y'all.
Song with purpose, for sure. DJ Al Rock has a question for you. Go ahead, Al.
Well, yeah, I didn't know about that controversy. That was a good story, but I'm glad I was able to get my Just Born copy of it in my record pool. And then I had to, like you said, DJs do buy 2 copies, especially with records like that. And when you say that you made it in mind, and and for DJs, he really did. You really did. That was one of the best DJ records I think ever. First
Wow.
time I heard it was in the Funhouse, 1984. Jelly Bean was mixing it in, and just to hear that bass line, and then when the whistle comes in,
Yep.
I mean the crowd was just going crazy.
Yeah, all of the elements of what gets a party started. I had been, as a mobile DJ, sometimes you got to give your own parties too. I was a promoter and doing the whole gamut, whatever it took to get the party started when we're giving events and when you're hired for an event. So, I mean, there's more than what people expect, that a DJ has to handle when he's preparing for an audience and then thus working that audience. No doubt.
Sure. For sure. I mean, that record was sampled over 40 times, remixed over and over again. Cheerleading teams use that song in their hype mixes when they do their dances. And my question is, did you ever think that the record would hold up, that it would become such a big hit back in the 80s and then hold up even to today? I mean, I know I use it. I use it in almost every set, especially, if a crowd is not dancing and you throw Set It Off on, you're going to fill the dance floor pretty quick.
Well, let me tell you, I remember in the early days when when the record cleared the floors because folks didn't know, and I remember cats being afraid to play it, when I gave them the record because it was so new. And actually that year, 84, the beginning of that year, I went on tour with Shannon as the guitarist in her band, Let the Music Play. And we had already finished tracking Set It Off. So I had some test pressings that while I was on the road with Shannon and doing clubs, I would give it to the DJ, but I would wait until I was leaving town to give it to him so I wouldn't have to, hear the feedback. I just wanted it to happen. I wanted to promote it. But like I said, I was feeling a little, I was feeling a way about the fidelity in the early pressings, truth be told, Walter Gibbons, as an evangelist at that point, felt that the bass was an instrument of the devil in the music. It does have its frequency effects. And so, a club record and the dance record's got to have a lot of bass. So initially it was kind of thin in the first few pressings or in the master, in the original 2-track. So the mastering lab had to boost it up a little bit to add a little. And sometimes when you do that to the 2-track, you can muddy up the fidelity. So the earlier pressings didn't, they left a lot to be desired in my ears, So, but the vibe was still there. It was still the original arrangement. And so those first few pressings are definitely collector's items, whoever got them. But I was, there was trepidation in my sharing of it, but I did share it, hey, I hope you like it. That's how I was leaving town,
Everybody liked it. That's pretty much.
Yeah, well, it took a while. It took a while because I got some buddies, that were DJs too, and they were reluctant to play it. And tell you what, some cats, when they hear, well, it's being played at the garage, then they get the balls to pull it out. Well, I think I'll try it too. Come on now, how it is for some cats. Not everybody's about breaking records. They just want to play the records that they know will guarantee the floor is filled.
Yeah,
but
but
that
you
was
also
the
have to
beautiful
take
thing about
chances
being a
as a
mobile
DJ.
DJ and being having access to promotional copies and in the record pool, because certain records you got them. And you knew that as soon as you put it on, whether they heard it for the first time or not, it was gonna rock the room. And that's what I was always looking for too. And that's what I know y'all still look for that, man.
Yeah. DJ Al Gee, I know you got some questions. Go ahead, Al.
No, I'm just happy to listen to all this behind the scenes about a song that I grew up as an iconic record. We used to break dance when we were kids, and that was a break dance. It was a break. The way that song transitioned, because the break dancers enjoyed it, and the people who were dancing in the funhouse loved it. It transcended all the different cultures of dance in New York and DJing for that matter. I mean, as a DJ, I was a DJ since I was a kid, and like you said, 2 of them, and you just keep backspinning the whistle. That whistle part, I could play that for 15 minutes, just the whistle. Yeah, and people would love it. And just to sit here and listen to the backstory behind it is. Good for me. You answered all my questions. There's, I'm just
Okay,
appreciative to
okay.
listen to that stuff.
Good
It's great.
question, man.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go for
The
it.
fact that the main version was 10 minutes long. That first night that I heard it, Jelly Bean must have played it like 5 different times during the course of the night,
Yeah.
using the
Wow.
dub version,
Mhm.
using the end of the main version. And the Funhouse was the type of place that you can sample a record. There was so many records there, like AEIOU, Confusion,
Yeah,
Dada,
right.
your record. All these records were premiered there. They would test it on the crowd, and if the crowd liked it, then it became a hit. That was the ultimate test grounds, for new releases and new artists.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
and their
Yeah,
sound system just brought that record to life. They had the best sound system there. And
no
I
doubt.
actually worked 2 shows with you. One in 2014, we did the Resorts World in Queens. That was
Okay,
the Funhouse reunion, and you came out
right.
with a percussionist.
Yes,
And
that's Brother Radar. May rest
then
in
we did
peace.
another one at the Wynwood in Staten Island with Elias, rest in peace.
Right,
You were there
right.
with him.
Yes.
So, all I'm going to say is the people at the reunion are in for a treat because you turn it out, man. It's going to be lit. So I
Absolutely.
can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
One of
I
Billboard
am as well.
Magazine's most sampled songs too. So many artists have sampled the song. J-Lo, right? So many artists. Tell us about some of the artists who sampled "Set It Off." That you
Man,
you're really proud of that.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Of course, J-Lo with
Fabulous.
wow. Yeah, Fabulous 50 Cent, the East Side Boys, let me see, Uncle Luke,
Yeah, so many. Wow.
yeah. I mean, and there's so many bootlegs too. I've heard techno
Yeah.
bootlegs. I mean, the Monica and Missy Elliott, that was a nice job, but I enjoyed I really like what Organized Noise did for the movie Set It Off, in terms of turning it into an R&B thing with Queen Latifah. That was just such a fresh change, from the all the other versions. But yeah, there've been quite a bit, and so many, to even remember. I know Jermaine Dupri did a thing with what's the group, singing group. I don't want to disrespect anyone, but yeah, there's and because look, I got the
I just
I
Googled
licensed the master, and I own the publishing, so business is pretty decent, and that's really what I've been amassing a catalog of material. Actually, I've never stopped creating, and I'm looking forward to opening up with a new tune to set the stage for Set It Off.
Awesome.
It's called A Break in the Storm, to get
Great.
them started, and get into the room before I get the whole room to just get into the song, because that's what it's about. It's a family affair now, and all of the memories that folks are still holding from those glory days of when we were younger and feeling it, however we were throwing down, to be able to come together again and relive that again is a special thing.
Right, of course. I mean, of course, so many great DJs play this song. I don't, as I said, back in the day, I used to be a party DJ as well. I don't think there was ever a party that I didn't play "Set It Off" at. Amazing.
Wow. Yeah, I never
People hit
expected
the
it.
dance floor.
You asked me if I expected it to. No, I had no idea. I just put my heart in it and tried to imagine us feeling, whatever, I could share in the arrangement, as well as in the melodic and lyrical content, to connect with folks and to encourage folks to connect with each other. That was definitely the intent. And it's special to me to hear people and to see them, their experiences with the record is, that means the world to me, man. It really is very encouraging.
The song was used in some films too, right?
Oh yeah, yes,
yeah.
yes,
Spike
indeed.
Lee's film, right?
That was the
Have It,
first
right?
use, and She's Gotta Have It. Besides Set It Off, it was Shark Tales used a segment, and the principal was one of the first main ones, and Jelly Bean was the musical supervisor on that, the principal.
Oh,
So
wow.
there was a nice, drug cleanup scene in the house in the high school, and Set It Off was in that one. So that was the first main one right there. So it was used. There's been a couple of HBO shows and otherwise. So it's got its place in the archives of and the annals of time now. There was a movie released recently. Some independent movies. I mean, some independently released films. I've licensed it too. It's about just making it available. It's also the theme song now for the AKA sorority, so it's been adapted and it's becoming a family affair, and it's been licensed. I licensed it to a few video games. I refused a few video games because they were a little too violent.
Right.
But it's in the history books, I guess now.
Yeah.
Being
You had a recording
Billboard.
studio too. Tell us about that recording studio you had back in the day in downtown Brooklyn, right?
Well, I had the rehearsal studio on Lawrence Street where I had a bunch of folks coming through. That's where, I really, where I created it. But the recording was done at Platinum Factory, which was in the Billie Holiday Theater on Fulton Street in Bed-Stuy. So it was homegrown, mixed at Systems 2. That's where Walter Gibbons mixed it. But I did a pre-mix at Sigma Sound in the city. That was the version that I was performing to all of those years. But I'm still downtown Brooklyn on Atlantic Avenue between Bond and Evans. I got a studio here, as well as the Hard Soul Boutique, where we sell our T-shirts and merchandise. I got some vinyl, some limited edition pressings and some art. But still local and still in the community.
You're into silk screening, right? T-shirts and art.
Yes. My art. I'm into creating a digital art that I apply to T-shirts. So it's like paint on fabric. So that legitimizes it as a, I guess some paint element to it. The silk screening. So I have a few legacy pieces that people have returned for. So they're limited edition, and we recycle them in different colors and different styles every now and sometimes seasonally I might come up with a new design, but right now I've been actually focusing on preparing to release a new batch of material, man, to further establish the sound and the diversity of what it is I've been creating. And have a few artists that I've been working with, actually, the Hard Soul Meditation, where I'm actually, I think of it as an ensemble of vocalists that are feeling, the soundscape of what I'm creating. And I'm thinking like groups like the Undisputed Truth, but I'm also producing each of the individuals a solo tunes on them. Mainly, I'm a songwriter. So the artists are Miss Deborah Lynn Cole, who's been a session singer and on a lot of the freestyle recordings that you've heard over the years. Some of them she even sang the leads, but didn't even get credit for. But that's Deborah Lynn Cole, Miss Kathleen Waters, who's been with me and the Hard Soul label since 1990, and Jerome Andre. So the three of them are the three main vocalists that I'm working with. And my dancer, Bravo. Bravo's been with me on the stage since '84, man, breaking it. He's one of the cats that was doing the underground, the loft scene and all of that. And he's a very creative individual. So for me, having him as a dancer is almost like having a side man as a musician, like a sax player or something. So he translates the music with his physical acumen, with his moves and his spirit. So I feel blessed to still have him as a friend, a buddy, and an accomplice in these episodes, these further episodes of Set It Off.
Yeah, a lot of remixes out there. What about the name Strafe? Where'd that come from?
Strafe. Okay. Well, Strafe. You see, look, man. I was born in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn, right by the Brooklyn Navy Yard, Farragut houses. So, and coming up during that time, you know, it was all of those war. How should I say, war? TV shows, 12 O'Clock High, Combat, PT 109. I was, you know, you know, one of them kids playing with Army men and all of that stuff. But the real deal, Strafe, came as a pseudonym or a side name that I took on when I took on the musicians band, and we were into fusion and fusion dance, and I was into, you know, fusion guitar and that whole element, and I just needed something edgy to do some of these some of the local cultural circuit dates. But with that band, I took on the Strafe persona, and my true relationship with the name was at that point I decided that being a songwriter was the key to being successful. You know, I was not interested in being the big star. I wanted to be a successful songwriter so I can make a living. And I figured that I'd write as many songs as possible and I'd fire away at the target until I hit the bullseye, you know. So it was about strafing the market with songs until I had something that worked for me. So yeah, that's the real application for it, and the meditation for why it you know is my alter ego, or you know, my professional character.
Of course. Well, before we let you go here, DJ L Rock, any questions for Strafe?
Well, I looked up the songs that Set It Off is sampled in, and it's 44 total. And the highlight,
I didn't even know what that meant. Wow.
Yeah, that's 44 total. 50 Cent, obviously. Wu-Tang Clan, Protect Your Neck, it's in there.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lopez, we said that. The Party by Craze, which is one of the original house music.
They just stole the whole opening line. That whole song is just the opening line.
EPMD. Yeah, see, you know, there's quite a few, man. There's quite.
And my favorite one that it's sampled in is the Lisa one, Let the Beat Hit 'Em.
Right, that's right. See,
awesome.
Tupac.
Awesome,
you know, all of
that's
those.
Right.
Tupac, right? Tupac.
Yeah. The whole bass line.
Oh yeah, and you know, of course, David Morales did the remix.
The new one, right? Rockin' Music.
Jackson 5.
Rockin' Music, David Morales. It's a TikTok song now, but it's got Set It Off and like the Babe Ruth Mexican mixed into that with Just Begun, the stream from Just Begun. And then the bass line of Set It Off comes in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
well, see, there's stuff that I don't even know about, but you know, Hum Along and Dance was the one he did on the Jacksons.
And Dance.
You know, that was nice, and it was the jazz thing that John Robinson, the late John Robinson, did with what's the guitar player? His name, Ron Lawrence. That was nice. That was jazzy. So yeah, there's so many interpretations, but here's the other thing, man. I've been working on a bunch of remixes myself, and they don't sound nothing like what anybody else has come up with. So I'm keeping them on the side until I'm ready to unleash them. But it's that kind of song. And, you know, I create for the pleasure and for the fun. And so, you know, there's a point soon when I will start unleashing some of them. But I also think the business is changing, and, you know, there's got to be a whole another set of rules applied at this point in time, considering that AI is coming into the mix, and the new STEM technology in the you know, within the DJ culture is allowing cats to mash up and remix. And the problem with that is that nobody's really making any money from it. But I'm coming up with a formula where, you know, everybody can get some, you know, can eat too. You know, I think that it is time for some legitimate collaborations. You know, we can make that happen too.
Yeah, Strafe, any advice to anybody who's starting out in the recording business today?
Well, do what you love. If you're doing music, yeah. Wow, everyone's different. You know, everyone's going to respond based on their environment, what they're exposed to, But it is a social interaction. You know, you create to be able to relate and socialize. If you're doing it as a DJ, from a DJ's perspective, it's
Right.
about being able to make the room happy. But as a composer, there are many reasons to do so, just for therapy and otherwise. So if you're trying to do it professionally, you know, that's a whole nother perspective to take. But other than that, love what you do. If you do music, music is a labor of love, and you can actually resonate love through music. And I think that's one of the greatest aspects of it. Of course, you can beat the war drums too, because you got all kind of music is used for a lot of stuff, man. It always has, from, you know, villages and tribes, and it's more important than we take a lot for granted, but it has had an effect on the social order, and has an effect on the social disorder too. So there's a responsibility to what you decide to share with folks, you know, and just be true to that, I would say, you know, and try to keep it love.
Absolutely.
For my sake, because that's
Al
what I
Gee,
get from you.
DJ Al Gee, any final questions for Strafe?
I just wanted to you said you grew up in the Farragut projects, and what's funny is that Mike, who's one of the owners of Richmond, his family had a deli on York and Gold, and we used to go. It was called Bonnie's.
Yeah, Bonnie's.
And we used, you know, Bonnie's, and we used to go there all the time.
Everybody
and
knows
there with
Bonnie's, man.
DJ
That's where you go to get the heroes. Man. We still
yeah,
craving them
right.
today.
He had like a deli, a sandwich deli.
Oh
Got
yeah,
it
no,
for
they
years
were
there.
they were family, man. They were family in the neighborhood, and yes. We, you know, we grew up
DTM,
with.
that's his father. That's Mike Senior. So when you come,
Yeah,
I'm
Mike.
going to
I
introduce
know
you to Mike.
Big Mike. Yeah, come on,
Do you
man.
know? You remember Mike? That's
Yeah,
Mike's
of course.
father, Mike Ladani's father.
Yes.
And when you said you were from Farragut Projects, I was like, oh my God, we used to go there all the time. Because like you said, they were family. So he had so many friends there. So nights we weren't doing anything, we would drive over to Farragut Projects by the store, and we would hang out with some of the guys he knew from over there. He knew everybody. He could walk
Yes, he
around
did.
with everybody knew him. And we would hang out, we'd drink beers with them.
They were beloved, you know, to the old school family community, the Farragut community, no doubt.
So you're going to see Mike on
were,
Saturday, because he's one of the Richmond partners there. So you'll see
Michael Ladani, yeah, great guy. Richmond Republic, beautiful place. So looking forward to having you there.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Also, another friend of mine over from the Farragut houses over there, Little Anthony, came out of there.
That's right. He was on Fort Greene.
Little Anthony and the Imperials. Yeah, I know Little Anthony pretty well. Yeah.
Right. That's right. Yeah,
another celebrity to come out of the Farragut houses there. But anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us. We're so looking forward to you hanging out with us at the beautiful Richmond Republic this coming Saturday night. It's going to be a fantastic show. It's going to be a great party. Tell us how your fans can keep in touch with you on social media.
My website is setitstrafe.com. That's setitstrafe.com. And Strafe Standard on Facebook, and Strafe the Artist on the artist page on Facebook, and Strafe One on Instagram. Strafe number one with the one, and so catch me on all of that, please, and reach
absolutely
out.
So looking forward to hanging out with you on Saturday night, along with DJ Al Rock and DJ Al Gee. Thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate you coming on Celebrity Spotlight. You're always welcome here. Anytime you have anything to promote, give me a call. You're always welcome back here on Celebrity Spotlight. Thank you, Strafe. I'll see you Saturday night.
Saturday,
thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you.
Take care. Bye now.
All right, Joe.
Take care. Bye. Set it off for sure.
Set it off.
All right, DJ Al Rock, how you doing, man? Great show.
I'm good.
DJ Al Gee, thank you so much for joining me.
Al Gee.
Is it? I'm calling Al Gee. Al Gee's with us.
Al Gee.
We're both
tell us, Al Gee, tell us how you got started as a disc jockey in Canarsie. You said you've been doing this since you were a young guy, right? Tell us when you started. Tell us how that all got started for you.
Okay, so how I started DJing is pretty funny, actually, because I didn't even know I wanted to be a DJ. My friend Anthony, his brother was a DJ, Frank, and he was selling his equipment. So he came over to us, because you guys want to be DJs? You're just hanging around here doing nothing. So we were like, yeah, all right. I was like 14. So we bought his equipment from him, and he started feeding us parties, like Knights of Columbus,
Right.
parties, not Nights of Columbus, but we would do the South Shore dinner dances and stuff like that, and that's how I learned how to DJ. And I realized I loved it. Like I didn't just want to make money doing it. I wanted to learn how to mix, and then I started going to I went to the Funhouse twice. So I was way underage, but I went. That was when I really realized that I loved it. And then I started going to Heartthrobs every week, and then I started to really follow Louis Vega. So that was where like my inspiration was. So I went to Heartthrobs every week after the Funhouse closed, and they reopened, and we loved freestyle, and we went every week, and we got to hang out with Louis Vega every week. We would go in the DJ booth. It was almost like your situation when you were in the Funhouse and Jelly Bean. He was like our Jelly Bean,
Right, of course.
And that's what inspired me. That's where.
So where in Canarsie did you grow up exactly?
East 94th Street between K and L.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, yep.
Awesome.
I lived on that block my whole life.
Awesome. And DJ Al Rock, tell us how you got started in the business, and what part of Canarsie were you from?
Well, I was from East 81st between Flatlands and Glenwood. So you talk about the prime hangout spot of Canarsie was Bildersea Park. But
Absolutely. Yeah.
The Funhouse and Jelly Bean, made me a DJ. Exactly what Al said. When you went to that place, I loved music. I mean, back in the day, I used to just stay up and record all the mixes on my cassette tapes that were on BLS and KISS and KTU.
Right.
Just sitting in my bed recording all that stuff. And Canarsie had so many DJs. Great ones.
That.
We produced the best DJs in that neighborhood. But
absolutely,
once I went to the Funhouse, I knew, that's what I want to be.
I went to Canarsie High School, so we had the battle of the DJs, and I believe South Shore did as well, right? I mean, the battle of the DJs, battle of the bands.
South Shore did have one battle of the DJs and many battle of the bands.
Yep, I remember that. I remember it well.
Never ended. I didn't.
What a cool place to grow up. So many great memories here in Canarsie, right? I mean, such a great place to celebrate because it was part of our youth. I started at a Holy Family in Canarsie. That's where I started doing the 8th grade dances, and I became a disc jockey, and I liked it so much. And I wound up getting into radio, but that's where I started. And I did the Knights of Columbus here in Canarsie. I did the American Legion. I did so many block parties back in the day. I missed those days. They were a lot of fun for sure. And nothing like those days, right? DJ Al Rock, I know you love those block parties.
Block parties, just memories that they'll never fade away. But as far as Canarsie goes, I mean, you tell me one other neighborhood anywhere, maybe Brooklyn, but anywhere in the world where we still look out for each other, we still get together, we still talk. Facebook is responsible for a lot of people getting back together. Sure. But, I mean, we left Canarsie in the 90s, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're in 2026, and we're still getting together and putting these parties together. And the music brings you right back to those days. And set it off. If you went around Canarsie, there's just like nowhere where you wouldn't hear that song. It could be a street corner on a boombox, like Strafe said, cruising in your car. I mean, that song, when it came out, it was just everywhere in Canarsie. So it's very relatable.
Forget it. You have the windows rolled down, of course, doing all the cruising up and down Avenue L, right?
Without a doubt.
Back in the day.
For a time period, I think that might be in the top 2 or 3 suggestions. That's
Absolutely.
definitely a theme song for our era. It was just iconic. Again, I'm glad that he's a very good song. Good to have him there because that's a great song.
Well, LG, I'm glad you're going to join us on this wonderful event. So happy to meet you. I worked with Al Rock before, and Al Rock, also tell us what else is going on. I know you bring Canarsie down to Florida. Tell us about that.
Yes, we're going down to Boca for a get together at Cosmos. A nightclub. It's a retro nightclub that they only play the old school music. This is my 3rd time there, I believe.
Right.
And it's remarkable how many people from Canarsie live in South Florida.
Yeah.
This time, the owners, it's unbelievable. The owners want to do a little Canarsie get together. That's October 3rd at Cosmos in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm looking forward to that, but I'm really looking forward to working with Al G on Saturday. We lived it. We're going to bring you back to those days that you hung out on street corners, and with your friends cruising, like you said, on the L, on Flatlands Avenue. Yeah. We're going to bring back all that music and have Strafe perform. I'm really excited about this one. This is our 3rd one at Richmond Republic.
Yeah.
But we've done some Canarsie reunions in the past. This is the 3rd one at Richmond.
No.
And we thank Mike for allowing us to do our madness there, because it's just crazy. People show up out of nowhere and that you haven't seen.
Right.
See them and talk about the old days. We're getting older. We're pushing 60.
Yeah.
Now, and, we just don't know how many more we have in us.
60's pushing me, I think.
It's great that we could get together on these positive notes rather than negative.
Right.
Yeah.
Parties and negative events.
No.
We see each other at funerals too, but
that we don't need to do.
This is a lot better.
Of course, a special guest on the phone. One of my favorite promoters, a good friend of mine for over 50 years. I don't know. Tony Ann DeMaria is on the phone. Hey, Tony Ann.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Tony
Say
Ann,
hello.
what's
How are you?
Tony Ann.
Hi. I'm good.
Yeah, so Tony, tell us about putting this gig together. I mean, you've been doing so many great flyers, right? Again, it's another event. Tell us, are you excited about doing this event again?
Yeah, we weren't going to do it, and then we decided to do it in the fall. I don't know, it ended up that way. A lot of people weren't going to be around for the summer, so we figured the fall, and might allow us to do it around this time, and I figured everybody was getting back to the swing of things, going back to school and everything, and instead of, doing nothing, we figured, all right, let's get together again. Right. It's not just with an Aussie, it's anybody who really, around the neighborhood, we kind of just used it that first year, and it kind of stayed, once it said reunion, we try to keep everything together with the theme. So that's where we're at this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Saturday we'll kind of get ready. Thank you for, Algie for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you. And our rock, of course, because I'd kill him if he wasn't with me at doing this. So, but
yeah.
So, that's me with the crazy flyers. That's my crazy head doing his thing.
So, Tony, tell us where you grew up in Canarsie. Tell me some of your favorite memories of Canarsie.
Well, actually, I am a lot older than LG.
Right.
But I lived down the block originally from them. That's how I know them. And I know Mike, forever. Forever. I don't even know what to say with that, but, forever. But, it was 91st. It was originally 94th, right around the corner from Canarsie High, and then I moved to 91st and now.
Right.
And basically I was over there on Avenue L most of my life.
Well, yeah, and we know each other from Holy Family from back in the day, right?
Yeah. Well, 8 years in that, another couple of years in
Nazareth, yeah. A lot of people went to Nazareth. That's right. Out of Canarsie High School, South Shore, Nazareth, Bildersea, right? All the great schools in Canarsie.
Yeah, there was a lot of us. That's why I said the name just kind of stuck as far as like a reunion. The first year was kind of spoofy.
Right.
When we first put it together, I really only thought it was going to be like a bunch of us that used to just hang out right there, and it wound up blowing up. And I was like, you know what? Too late to change the name, so we just kept the name, but anybody could really, come as long as they're,
right.
wanted to have a good time with the people from the original neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about Al Rock? Well, give me some of your favorite memories of growing up in Canarsie. Give me like one or two memories that come to mind right away.
I just have to say the people that we grew up with and the times that we had. It's just miraculous that we're even still alive at this point, or not in jail.
Yeah, tell me about it. I know.
Back in those days, and we had each other's back, and we still do to this day. So my memory that stands out is the people and the friendships that we've had for the last 6 decades of growing up in that neighborhood. It's just amazing. Right.
What about you, LG? Tell us. Memories.
Well, I definitely agree with you on the friendships and the connections. Everybody still talks, and when we get together, we always talk about Canarsie. And Canarsie had some of the best stuff. I mean, just in general, like we had how many we had 2 movie theaters, you know, we had the Seaview.
Which was your favorite? Was it the Canarsie on Avenue Well? Or was the Seaview, right? There were so many of them.
Get them for free, you know. So the Canarsie movie theater. When I was a kid, you know, as a little kid, I would walk up and the guy knew us and he would always just wave me and my friend in. Come on in, and we would get it for free. So I love that movie theater. I went my whole life as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
There was just so much to do as a child, you know, and then growing up, you know, like you said, you know, you make friends, and I have the same friends now that I had then. You know, some of them even live close to me right over here, and you know, where I live in Jersey here. You know, I got at least 5 of them here. So that's, you know, it's really was a place where we all bonded, you know, and that's what sticks out in my head, the bonding, you know.
Absolutely.
And the food, don't forget the food.
Oh,
The food, right? All the great stores. I miss all the great stores, man. There was so many great stores back in the day, right?
Yeah. Canarsie was, you know, it had places to shop for clothes. Like you said, had at least 3 or 4 really excellent restaurants. Pizzerias. Nobody was better than, you know.
Sonny's.
Huh?
Sonny's Heroes, right? I mean, the best
Sonny's
heroes, the biggest heroes. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I miss those guys. What about you, Tony Ann? What are your favorite stores? You remember any favorite stores, Tony Ann?
I love Rosie's on the corner.
Yeah.
Oh. Right out there on 94th and K.
94th and K, LG, she's saying?
Yeah, 94th and K was that was my friend John Ali. His family owned that, the corner store we used to call it. He owned it, and then Roe bought it. Korean family bought it. But that was the corner of my block, and it was the corner of Tony and lived between K and J, I think, and I lived between K and L, so that was both of our corner stores.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember.
You also owned a block down on 95th. There was
a clothing store. The clothing store.
You had the restaurant. I mean, I was a kid. You were probably not even old enough to remember, but there was a restaurant. She had a restaurant before that clothing store years ago.
That
and
I
then
remember.
she closed it down, and then it went to do all that other nonsense that went there. But there was. Ask him. There was a restaurant. The mother owned it.
Oh, really? I don't remember that. I gotta see. I gotta look into that one.
Unless hey, listen. Then again, you know, I'm getting old. I could be getting dementia for all I know.
No, you're not getting
I don't know.
Please, let's not talk about that stuff. Where am I? No.
Al, don't fall this Saturday, Al.
I'm not fooling anywhere.
All right, man. Al Rock. Any DJ influences? Who influenced you, Al Rock?
Besides Jelly Bean, I'd have to say Tony Humphries.
Tony Humphries, all right.
If you remember him, he was a big influence to me, and Red Alert.
Right.
Those guys would, you know, mainly it was Jelly Bean and the Funhouse music that you heard there that you just didn't hear anywhere else. Strafe mentioned the song "Hum Along and Dance." That was the only club that I ever heard that track in, and I've been to a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
So that underground music and just the way he mixed it in those days,
right?
That's my influence.
Was that your favorite club to hang out at? What was your favorite club to go besides the Funhouse? I know you mentioned the Funhouse.
Besides the Funhouse, I'd have to say Studio 54 would be another one that we love going to. You know, but the Funhouse, we didn't have to wait online. That was the difference. You know, Studio had a line all the way down the block, and we had to wait on it most of the time.
Yeah.
And then there was days where they would just pick you to get in. If they didn't like you, you wouldn't get in.
LG, what about you? What are your favorite clubs that you used to hang out at back in the day?
Well, like I said early, when I was underage, I used to go to Heartthrobs every week to see Louis Vega DJ. So that was my inspiration. But I mean, we went everywhere. We went to Long Island clubs like Sprat's, Speaks.
Sprats right? There was 2 Sprats, right? There was Sprats on the water, and then there was Sprats on the land.
Yeah, Sprats on the land. Yeah, that was by Roosevelt Park over there. We went to both. But you know, obviously Legacy in Brooklyn. You know, in Bay Ridge, that was definitely a place to hang out. Pastels first, then Legacy. And you know, in Manhattan, then I started to DJ a little bit in Manhattan, so we would play at Tunnel. We had a nice gig at me and Scissorhands were playing a hip hop room, and then we had these circuit parties, and then Carbon was a good spot that we had. We, all over Manhattan for a long period of time. Just going to clubs. I can't believe, like he said, I'm still alive. I'm still
Tony Ann says La Park. That was the place, right?
Well, yeah, the park, sure. That was, they had the teen night, right? They had the teen night for us, so that was like our fun house. When we couldn't
Right.
get into clubs, we would go to their teen night. And they would play early hip hop and fun house music. And that was fun. And that was also owned by a friend of mine, who's hopefully, I don't know, he was supposed to be guest bartending. Angelo, his family, they own that, so he's supposed to be guest bartending. Hopefully, he makes it. On Saturday. So that'd be nice to see.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so many clubs. One of my favorites was Fantasy Island. I don't know if you remember that. Then later turned into Club B.
Quentin Road.
Fantasy Island, right? Those two are
Yeah,
like
Quentin
I
Road.
DJ'd there a couple of times.
Yeah. That was a great place.
Plaza Suite. Remember Plaza Suite? That was another one.
Plaza
Brooklyn
Suite.
Zoo. What about the Brooklyn Zoo?
I never went there. No, that one I don't know. These are predating me. I'm a couple of years younger than you guys. Not much though.
I remember back in my WPLJ days at TJ Bentley's, I brought Robin S. out on stage. Remember Robin S.?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I remember hosting that show back in the day. So many great shows. And of course, in Canarsie, I hosted the Avenue L Festival. Remember the big Avenue L Festival? Those things were great. I love that.
And yeah, well, I grew up right there on Avenue L. So yeah, I would come out early for the Avenue L Festival, and we would just, I would be there all day, and night.
Yeah, I got to host that. That was pretty cool. They had that big video store. You remember the video store? That was a Night at the Movies. Remember that? That was huge back in the day.
Yeah, Night at the Movies. I think I worked there for like 10 minutes.
Tony, I went to the other one, she says. Oh, you worked there? She said she worked there.
I thought I worked there for like 10 minutes at Night at the Movies. And
wow.
I quit. After like 20 minutes, I quit.
Wow, that's hilarious. Well, we're so looking forward to this weekend, right? The big Canarsie Fall Edition reunion, the beautiful Richmond Republic. We got to mention Michael Ladani, right? I mean, of course, I went to school with Michael as well as Tony Ann and all of us. And he does such a wonderful job there in Staten Island with Richmond Republic. And of course, Tony Ann informed me that if you want to go out to dinner there, right, you got to have those reservations.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. I have a table. I have the table.
Yeah. So make sure if you're going to head out Saturday night to hang out with us, and I hope you do, please make reservations for dinner. It's a great place for dinner, right? Great food. And the party's going to be unbelievable with DJ Al G and DJ Al Rock. And Tony Ann's going to be there. And, of course, Strafe's going to be there. And I'm going to be there. So it's going to be a great time, really. So I hope everybody comes out, whether you're from Canarsie, you're from Brooklyn, you're from Staten Island, Sheepshead Bay, wherever you're from, come out, hang out with us. It's going to be a great time.
Yes.
Mill Basin, Georgetown, Bergen Beach.
Mill Basin,
Don't
Georgetown,
stay home.
Bergen Beach. Yes,
Just
don't
come
stay
out.
home. It's
free
going to be a
get
beautiful weekend, too. The weather's going to be absolutely
Yes.
fabulous. So please come out. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be great weather. So no excuse to stay home, really.
All right, you guys have a good night. Thank you.
Okay, Tony and DeMaria, thank you so much. We'll see you on Saturday.
Bye,
Talk to
Tony.
you later, Tony Ann.
Bye, Tony Ann. Bye-bye. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been fun.
Thanks, Jimmy.
I had a great time. Al G, thank you so much. It's great to have you on the show. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. I said we never met before. So, first time working with you, but great to meet you. And of course, you're from Canarsie. We should know each other for years. Probably, I'm sure we ran across each other many times.
Oh, definitely.
And also DJ Al Rock, my buddy. And thank you so much for inviting me down to the show again. I really appreciate it. Also, Happy New Year to your wife as well, Melanie. She's going to be out at the show as well. Again, reservations is recommended for the Canarsie reunion at the beautiful Richmond Republic. You can call for reservations 718-356-7425. Again, 718-356-7425. The beautiful Richmond Republic, Staten Island. My buddy Michael Ladani runs that place, and we're all going to be out there. So please come out, say hello to all of us. And I want to say best wishes to my co-host, Tom Payton. He didn't join us tonight because we had so many people on the show, but he's recovering from a health ailment. So I hope he gets better real soon. Thank you so much, Tom Payton. I know he's out there listening. So we'll see you on the next Celebrity Spotlight. Lots more celebrities coming up on Celebrity Spotlight. Thank you, Cindy, the producer, out in Lake Ronkonkoma. She's doing a great job tonight, informing me of all the people that were listening. Brad, my buddy Brad here, living in the Bayview projects in Canarsie. He's out there. He's going to be out at the reunion. Brad Siegel. Who else? Michael Lawrence is out there. Gazelle Sinclair. She's my good friend from up in Vernon Valley, Great Gorge in New Jersey. Great lady. I hope she comes down and hangs out with us in Staten Island. So many great people out there. My mom, who listens to the show all the time in Brooklyn, and she's still in Canarsie, of course. I grew up here in Canarsie, and I'm back here most of my time, which is pretty cool. And it's a great place, with so many memories for all of us. And we're going to celebrate those memories Saturday night at Richmond Republic. So come out and join us. All right, everybody, have a great night. Thank you so much again, Al G. Thank you so much, Al Rock.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Al,
All right, have a great night, everybody.
all right.
And thank you,
Everyone
Strafe,
Saturday.
for joining us. Thank you, Strafe. And
Strafe,
come out and
set
say
it
hello
off,
to Strafe,
baby.
and it's going to be a fantastic
Set
party
it
when you get
off.
that party started. Set it off, baby.
You all
there you
Saturday,
go.
everybody.
All right, good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Good night.